The battle against Vecna and the horrors of the Upside Down have left Hawkins forever changed. But the true horror begins in the final chapter, a chapter that no one expected. As the veil between the two worlds thins, our heroes will face their greatest test yet. In this speculative ending, everything changes, and the cost of their actions may be more than they can bear. The rise of the Thessalhydra. In the opening moments of the final season, a reckless move by the group to destroy Vecna's portal inadvertently unleashes an ancient, terrifying force, the Thessalhydra. This monstrous, multi-headed beast from the Upside Down is unlike anything the group has faced before. Each head represents a dark and corrupted facet of the Upside Down, from its malevolent force to its twisted mutations. As the Thessalhydra emerges from the rift, its power disrupts the balance between worlds. The town of Hawkins trembles under its presence as buildings collapse and the very ground begins to crack open, revealing the blackened, pulsating core of the Upside Down beneath. The creature's arrival creates massive rifts, spreading a suffocating darkness that threatens to engulf the world. The group's desperate efforts to stop it only seem to make things worse, as the Thessalhydra grows in strength. The Fall of Hawkins. Hawkins slowly succumbs to the invasion of the Upside Down, its familiar streets now eerily distorted. Trees are uprooted, and homes are reduced to rubble as the creature's influence spreads like a contagion. The once bustling town is now a shadow of its former self, overrun by dark vines and twisted structures. The sky above is constantly covered by swirling red clouds and flashes of purple lightning, a permanent signal of the impending destruction. The Upside Down is no longer a place. It's merging with Hawkins itself. People disappear, their faces turning into haunting, grotesque versions of themselves, lost to the corruption of the Dark Realm. The survivors are left to wander through this corrupted landscape, desperately searching for a way out. The hope they once had slowly fades as they realize they may be the last survivors of a world that no longer exists. If you enjoyed the story, please like the video and subscribe for more exciting content. Character Fates. 11. In a shocking twist, 11's powers begin to fade. After a failed attempt to defeat the Thessalhydra, she finds herself losing the very abilities that made her the most powerful weapon in the fight against the Upside Down. Her telekinetic powers flicker, diminishing with each passing moment. The once mighty 11, who had given so much of herself to protect her friends, is now just a girl, vulnerable and terrified. As the battle continues, 11 tries to use her fading powers to protect the group, but they are no longer enough. The mental strain causes her to collapse, and it becomes clear that her time is running out. Stripped of her abilities, 11's humanity becomes her greatest strength. In a heartbreaking moment, she sacrifices herself to save the others, using what little power remains to close a rift, but it costs her everything. 11 vanishes into the Upside Down, her fate left uncertain. Mike and Will. Mike is forced to confront the terrifying reality of losing not just his love, but his best friend. Will, once a symbol of innocence, is now a vessel for the Upside Down. His transformation is gradual, a slow unraveling of his mind and body, until he is no longer human. Will becomes the new leader of the Upside Down's forces, his connection to the Dark Realm complete. His eyes glow with a haunting, unnatural light as he leads an army of corrupted beings to tear apart the last remnants of the real world. Mike, devastated by Will's transformation, tries desperately to save him, but there is no hope. In a tragic, final confrontation, Mike is forced to make an impossible decision. To stop Will's reign of terror, he must kill his best friend. The emotional toll is immense, but Mike's love for his friends and the survival of the world pushes him to make the ultimate sacrifice. Will's death, however, is not without consequence. It creates a ripple effect in the Upside Down, causing its influence to spread even further. Max. Max's fate takes a darker turn. After her near-death experience in Season 4, she is left in a coma, her mind trapped in the Upside Down. But her consciousness is not at rest. Instead, she is reborn into a twisted version of herself, an unwilling servant to the Upside Down's will. Max's mind becomes a weapon, and her body is transformed into a monstrous version of herself, her once vibrant features now contorted into something far more sinister. Her connection to the Upside Down makes her the perfect vessel for its power. Max's transformation is painful and agonizing, but she no longer has control over her own mind. When she is finally freed, she is not the Max we knew. She becomes the vessel through which the Upside Down's influence expands, and her powers are wielded against the very people she once loved. The group is forced to face her in a heartbreaking final battle. The final battle. As the Thessalhydra wreaks havoc, the remaining survivors, Dustin, Lucas, Nancy, and Steve, fight with all their might. The battle is long, brutal, and seemingly hopeless. The Thessalhydra continues to grow, and the once familiar town of Hawkins is now a war zone. The survivors, despite the odds, manage to find the courage to keep fighting, using their knowledge of the Upside Down and the lessons they've learned over the years to battle against the creature. In a desperate final stand, the group manages to lure the Thessalhydra into a trap, using the last of their strength to close the rift that has allowed it to enter the real world. The final act is not a glorious victory, but a sacrifice, one that leaves them scarred, physically and emotionally. They are able to banish the creature, but Hawkins is forever lost. The closing of the portal. With the Thessalhydra destroyed, the group faces the final task, closing the portal to the Upside Down. The moment is filled with tension and sacrifice. The energy from the rift is overwhelming, and the remaining survivors are forced to push against its pull. As they close the portal, the world seems to collapse in on itself, and the remaining survivors are left with the knowledge that they may never return to the world they once knew. In this final act, the group comes to understand that the fight was not just about saving the world, but about preserving the human spirit. But as the portal closes and the world begins to crumble, they realize that the battle may never truly end. The End of Hawkins. The final scene shows a desolate, empty Hawkins. The streets are silent, the buildings broken and decaying. The survivors have scattered, each one left to deal with the aftermath in their own way. They have lost so much: friends, family, and the town they once called home. The final shot is of the survivors, walking away in different directions, each with a heavy heart and a burden they will carry for the rest of their lives. As the camera pans out, Hawkins is nothing more than a distant memory swallowed by the dark forces that have come to claim it. Conclusion. The final season of Stranger Things concludes with a grim reflection on the cost of heroism, the sacrifices made, and the impossibility of truly escaping the darkness. As the characters disappear into the unknown, one thing becomes clear: the battle between light and dark, the real and the supernatural, will never truly end. And while Hawkins is gone, its echoes will continue to haunt the survivors, forever shaped by the horrors they faced. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the story, please like the video and subscribe for more exciting content. We love hearing from you, so let us know what you thought of the ending in the comments below. Do you agree with this twist? Or do you have a different idea for how it all ends? Your feedback could inspire our next story. See you next time!